Golden Globe nomination.
Oh, that's right.
Yes, a clap. Thank you. Thank you. That's right. You weren't thinking about it the second we sat down here.
I didn't know it was today, and it was a delightful surprise. Grateful.
You know, we're at an AI conference. I want to hear about...
Yet again.
Yet again. I think there's going to be more, too.
It's a lot of fireside chats and panels, AI.
And we're about to do another one.
Okay.
What was the first time you remember engaging with AI? Like, when was the first time you were aware of it?
So, I'm sort of a fringe figure, but I... was a showrunner and creator, writer, director of a little show on the old Netflix called Russian Doll. And
who here's seen Russian Doll?
Hey, we're back, baby. It's like the Globes all over again. And
basically the same.
Yeah. So in doing that show, I done quite a lot of research. I'll take it back further. What else are we doing? I see we have 23 and 40. Okay.
39 now, 38.
So, well, as a kid, I was just saying, a Talmud student, anybody? Aramaic interpretations on interpretations, sort of like derivatives and iterations of theory. I liked that as a kid. It's sort of how I'm wired. And later in, coming up with Russian Doll with, Amy Poehler and Leslie Headland, host of brilliant ladies. I remember walking into that writer's room on the first day. I brought Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning and a book on Wilhelm Reich for beginners, and Hofstadter, I Am a Strange Loop. And I thought, I said to everyone, ladies, it's a comedy. Let's go. And along the way in that sort of research into stuff that would have, multiple timelines and sort of questions of quantum entanglement, and Nadia, my character, avatar, was a coder. I'd brought in also Ellen Ullman's book, A Life in Code. And I was sort of down this rabbit hole as an autodidact for no particular reason into things like, I spoke to Karen Howe recently, and she said, stop name dropping, Nick Bostrom. We've had enough. So I guess he's on the outs, or maybe he got too trendy. But things like, Black Gumball events. Black Gumball was the code name for Russian Doll Season 2. Existential risk, things like this, the Urn of Invention, they were on my mind at a time that was, unmotivated by any kind of, fortune business. I hear you guys have a list.
That's what they say.
Yes. Let me know if I make it there. That'd be a surprise and fun, I guess. So long before it was kind of trending, I guess, it was really deep on my radar as this thing. And of course, things like super intelligence and stuff, AGI, all these kind of
so you were thinking
hot
about
items
AGI.
have already been talked about for quite some time, unless I'm mistaken. Is that true?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. So I guess that was sort of how I ended up Alice in Wonderlanding my way in.
I was going to say, one of the things I say about tech sometimes is that I love it because it's so existential. A lot of the time it's really spiritual. Like, tech is one of those fields where it starts with, oh, here's something cool. It could kill us all. And Russian Doll is extremely existential. I mean, I've actually been rewatching season 1 in preparation for this exact moment right now. And it unlocks all of these fears that I didn't know I had, including but not limited to stairs.
Yes. Escher-esque staircases.
Yes.
Yes.
And normal staircases.
All kinds of stairs, yes.
Every stair. But it seems like part of what you were attracted to was this existential nature of it, that it's sort of tied in with all of these themes about life and death.
Yeah, absolutes.
Now, how has your relationship with technology evolved over the course of your career?
I mean, I guess as a youth, I only went to after hours for techno clubs, and now I'm fully embedded in actual tech. So I guess it's been that kind of an evolution. I don't know. I sort of have always been hot for the sciences. Every time I saw it, I'm a city kid in New York. Hey, Biggie Smalls made it to this panel. Lou Reed, all my friends. And, you know, when the New York Times section would come and I'd see arts and sciences, I think it was always kind of a curiosity to me. And over time, I began to understand that better, sort of music of the spheres and all that. And, you know, God doesn't play dice. Or I read, you know, Michio Kaku trying to discover, you know, Einstein's abandoned God equation. But it's also sort of fishy, right? Like Oppenheimer is not exactly a happily ever after movie. There's a lot of things along the way that become quite troubling. But yeah, I've fallen down all kinds of rabbit holes and von Neumann and everything else. It's just sort of my scene. I'm not sure why.
When you think about AI as a creative tool.
Sorry, I'll tell you why.
Yeah, please. Please. Yeah, I didn't even go.
I may as well. 1840. So I guess on a, you know, I'm a film and philosophy double major at Tisch. I dropped out at 16 as a young kid. They asked for tuition. I bought an apartment instead. I went to the film forum, made my own curriculum. It was fine. But I think that on a deeper sort of philosophical, existential, sort of theological, I don't know what level, I've always been deeply curious because there's sort of an empirical something to science. You know, the old science before this administration, the one with facts and stuff that I find quite grounding as somebody who's sort of, you know, a pretty out there Dali-esque type that enjoys sort of surrealism. I love comedy. I love, you know, big ideas. But I find that there is something very, like, you know, tethering and sort of anchoring about actual science. And I guess that's why it's always appealed.
Now, tell me a little bit about the first time you used AI when making a movie or making a TV show.
So I'm not entirely sure that it's occurred yet.
Okay.
And I say this as somebody who has, you know, of course, Asteria, our film company, is incredible, and you know, more than that, we have Mary, which is, you know, commercially safe, engineered by our friends at Moon Valley, and doesn't really have the same sort of copyright infringement as our not so close pals at Midjourney and Sora and so forth. So it's a pretty revolutionary act that we actually do have that model, and that's, you know, the basis for everything that we work on with. And we have incredible filmmakers on the floor at Asteria. We're based in the Max Sennett Studios in Silver Lake, which is where they used to shoot all the Charlie Chaplin movies. Mabel Normand was a wild figure. She was a director and an actor and all that, and so she directed actually a lot of those sort of Keystone Cops and Charlie Chaplin movies and so on. And so it's a pretty special place and an interesting moment of analog and digital. And when you ask me about most recent use of AI, I mean, certainly there's been microwaves, though, not microwaves, microwaves in which we've used it and made some beautiful things and renderings and like so. And some great, you know, music videos. We did something with Bad Bunny that was really cool. But as you guys know, sort of like the translation to 4K and sort of big screen and all that is still something that everybody is really working on to see how it'll go. You ever notice, this is a sidebar, stand up. You ever notice how at airports you can really see how oddball futurism and analog are, and we're not quite there yet? Why are you asking me for a piece of paper when you own my eyeballs, sir? So I say that to say that I think that, you know, AI is still a little bit, I think, at that point where we've got an awful lot of talk about it that, you know, Jaron Lanier is my friend. We're working on this movie together with Britt Marling, Uncanny Valley. You know, he's always like, well, maybe we just kind of talk about AI so much because every time we talk about it and become, you know, terrified, it just raises stock value and prices, you know, not to be a cynic, but I just think that AI is such a bizarro catch-all term. It's very easy to say, you know, I made my album with no AI, but your marketing department did not. You know, newsflash. So what do we really mean when we say AI? I guess I used AI in some of my emails that Gemini read against my will. Has anybody noticed more stand-up? I didn't even know how many AI bits I had, a full set apparently. I'm like the Kevin Hart of this Fortune Brainstorm. On the fly, unintentionally. But yeah, like, it's gotten a lot slower. In other words, I saw what they were doing in real time. It was something to do with very important stuff that was ultimately just ICE detention facilities, I guess, and digital ID. Weird. As somebody who's been arrested, I don't enjoy giving my fingerprints when I land in Jeddah. Not my thing. So I said as much, too. And the tech was a little shoddy, I asked. And they said, it's only been up a year. I said, you can tell. So I think that it's a little bit curious that there's actually been quite the slowdown. I'm sure you noticed it on your cell phone. As it's reading and scraping all your data, it's moving a lot slower just for you to get to a sort of text message or find a photo. Have you noticed that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the other things too, you mentioned the copyright clean engine. Why was that important to you?
I don't know. Law, fair play, people being, you know, credited and paid for their work. I guess the 90%, I say that to not go too full Occupy Wall Street, because that's last year's news. But, you know, it does seem that there's some real rarefied air of sort of C-suite versus the rest, and I'm deeply concerned, at least in my business. I'm someone who's been doing this since I'm 4, and I just turned 14. So, you know, I really care about crews, cast, IATSE, Teamsters, you know, all of us, writers, directors, people that have made their own work, artists, you know. So I don't think it's super kosher copacetic to just kind of rob freely under the auspices of acceleration or, China, right? I heard another theory that maybe TikTok is revenge for the opium wars. Anyway, put that in your kepper. Don't air that in a clip. But it just seems to me that there's a lot of hijinks happening of, yes, what happened to all those doomsayers? I guess they went full accelerationist. Oh, well, for us, seems sort of like a hellscape.
I was say, there are actually a lot of executives in this room at AI companies.
Hi, guys. How are you doing?
What's up?
Yes.
I figured I should
Yeah,
tell
I
you.
changed my LinkedIn to make myself a CEO of Animal Pictures. My own production company, it seemed like the vibe. I'm the boss, thought may as well. CEO season.
What do you think CEOs, what do you think these executives need to understand that they're not getting?
I mean, nothing really, just that when we talk about sort of like, you know, we need human beings in AI so that the tools don't run us or some sort of jibber jabber we've started saying to each other on a loop. I think we should bear in mind, to quote Joe Strummer, my close personal friend from the, anyway, so he says the future is unwritten, you know, we are the architects of our own future. We in here, in these rooms, I'm sure we all have kids. I know I've probably got at least 7 I've never met, probably 9 husbands. But it's incumbent upon us as these people who are in these rooms to decide what we want human to mean. You know, do we want to be sort of surprised when we have no care for one another or anyone below us on this sort of, whatever it is, corporate food chain hierarchy? I think that so long as we decide what the rules of play are when we say human, it will go a long way into the future. So I hope that we all kind of continue to care.
What do you want human to mean?
Ah, geez. I don't know. George Carlin would probably do a better job than I
We should go
would.
get him.
Yes, AI, George Carlin, his own worst nightmare. I guess, what do I want human to mean? I think I do. So, me personally, I'm not a big fan of things like, you know, slashing DEI. I don't think it's cool. I don't think it's cool to say, thanks. I don't think it's a good message, you know, whether or not I too have a daughter or knew a woman who was once a girl or something. Whatever that kind of back talk we do around anyone who is checkbox other, I think we have two categories in life. Those of whom can hide in plain sight, and everybody else who remains checkbox other. So long as that exists, we're in kind of a dilemma where, you know, it's like when they say that racism is a white people problem. You know, these are, it's a CEO problem to sort of figure out what being human means. Like, we need each other in this sort of, you know, algorithmic Tower of Babylon hellscape that we're all engaged in. You know, even though we say, sure, it's propaganda, what's real, what's not, I've never seen a news flash of like, you know, white guy may lose one testicle next Tuesday. Just kidding. It was just fake news. That kind of intense sort of, you know, fear-mongering is not something that we see. And by the way, like, I love white dudes and date them mostly. So it's nothing personal in that sense. I just think that for some reason, I also can see, you know, I came up on Netflix's third series, Orange is the New Black. We were kind of like a bunch of us. That was sort of my sorority. I don't like seeing that kind of news. I think it's scary, and I think it scares people. Being human to me means something where we are not okay with sort of co-signing stuff that's just mean. You know, I don't like it. That's just me personally. It makes me tense.
You know, you're implicitly also here talking about outsiders, and you've talked about the importance of outsiders in your work before. How do you think AI can help people feel seen rather than erased?
I mean, so many ways. You know, this idea in its sort of most beautiful that I hope it restores to is, you know, I guess Anima was here earlier talking about ideas. You know, there's so many extraordinary ideas for the future of what this tech could unlock, right? There's so much sort of beauty and power. I want, you know, interstellar travel. I want to, you know, live to at least be old enough to be a beta model of some kind of weird Philip K. Dick cyborg. You know, a half plate. I want to walk on a red carpet at the Globes and say, what work did you have done? And I said, my third boob, like Total Recall. Maybe a face plate, a beady red eye, and lungs that go on forever so I can chain smoke to my delight. These are the things, you know, that seem sort of fun. They should be choice, you know. I'm not opposed. I'm not like, I'm definitely kind of like a wild style futurist who is very curious. But it was meant to also democratize, to a certain extent, the ability to kind of create more things or find more solutions. And thus far, it seems to be, you know, sort of like that meme. Why does all the AI have to be screenwriters? None of them can figure out how to fix plastic bottles in the ocean? Like, we're just sort of jumping to kind of a lot of wrong conclusions, but I don't think they're an accident. I think that they're really about money. It's about cutting costs. But I just think that, yes, you know, yes, if Walter White has taught us anything, we are the guys who knock, or The Shining, you know. I mean, the call is coming from inside the house. It's like we are the ones that are designing what this use is going to be and how we choose to use it. So I'd love to see it used towards things like, yeah, I don't want to recreate sort of a Napster or Spotify model where artists get cut out. I really want this to mean a seat at the table for more people to do even more extraordinary things. I think that's what it should be for. Data centers, okay. Well, I don't want everything to be Flint, Michigan. It's a bad, bad, bad idea. However, should we not first think of solutions? Are you familiar with the mirror cell experiment?
No.
I'm now monologuing. I'm sorry.
No, please.
I only found out about it recently. I guess I sort of, you know, discovered it. Could be a sort of panacea. Might be end of civilization as we know it. Looks like we've got another black gumball on our hands. What did they do? I guess responsibly put it back, you know, in its Pandora's box and said, hold on, first things first, guardrails, regulations. Once we've got them, we can unlock this new tech safely. Here, we know it's sort of, it's too far gone. Life's crazy. What are we going to do about that? That's kind of like why I even show up places like this. I'm not paid to be here. It required a flight. I'm here because I actually think that the human part is that it's a very person-to-person thing of growing ideas and deciding how much we care.
Would you be down to take a question or two from the audience?
Yeah, it's always saying to me.
Lights up. Questions for Natasha? This is your moment. I have more questions.
Wow.
A colleague of Allie's, Diane Brady. What do you think about AI-generated actors, and how is that impacting Hollywood? Are we overestimating it, or do you think it's just bad?
I'll be honest, I'm not sweating Tilly Norwood. I've heard her name, haven't met her. Not convinced she's real or super important. Might just be a distraction, a little fear tactic, chaos. Not the kind of chaos I even like. I don't know what our friend Tilly's gonna do. Sort of like a Mannequin. What was that movie? Mannequin. I'm not sure our friend Tilly is gonna be Jenna Rollins any day soon.
Any others? We have time for one more. Right, over there.
Yep. Hey there, Andrew Nuska with Fortune. Thinking back to young Natasha, just before you dropped out of Tisch, fast forward to today, what would you tell her in terms of how she should think about using AI to start her budding film career?
Yeah, I guess I would have encouraged her to just get highly educated on the actual technique. You know, I mean, in most solutions, like, you know, I've been very lucky that as a writer, I'm able to sort of write my way out of certain pickles. Like if I don't have a job. As a director, I am able to, you know, sort of throw up sticks or kind of reframe a shot and then go into the edit and kind of get us to some kind of happy place where the scene jives. You know, you have to like massage an image. And my experience of the work we've done, for example, on Uncanny Valley with storyboard artists and artists on the floor and production designers and all that, department heads, and that's what we mean by sort of like not losing all the, you know, humans that are kind of doing this stuff. It's really about technique, and that takes a long time. So like any sort of profession, it's not just about saying, you know, AI blah, that means I know, you know, it's 10,000 hours. I mean, that's how you learn how to write and all that. So I would have said, yes, really, really learn these tools. The fun thing about knowing things is that then you can actually break those rules and, you know, reshape them. So yeah, that's a thought.
What's your favorite rule you've ever broken artistically? Or otherwise, if you feel so inclined.
Gosh, there's just so many. One time, this is about, I don't know, maybe 20 years ago now, I did light a cigarette on an airplane long after I knew there was no smoking, but when they came over, I said, I had no idea, I'm so sorry, let me put it out. Yeah, granted, that was 20, 25 years ago, friends. I was different then. But in many cases, yeah, I think that there's kind of a, I mean, filmmaking is such an extraordinary thing. You know, it's just, once you're willing to kind of like participate in life, you can just sort of find out that we're all making up the edges kind of together, which is, I think, pretty special. Yes, but I do also, you know, like rules to a certain degree. You know, I've pitched anarchy before, and then somebody reminded me if there were no sort of red lights, for example, it'd be a mess. You know, it wouldn't just be as simple as you're driving as fast as you can. It would just be a bunch of car accidents. So I do believe in that, but maybe what I believe in a little bit is sort of like stacking our new sort of like algorithmic sort of future together in a more 360 spread, separate from just this kind of idea of a single stack that, you know, I personally am no longer interested in raging against the machine. I'm interested in building new houses, new seats at the table, bringing, you know, more women and friends along with new ideas that sort of more people should have access to the same toys as we all figure out together what it's going to be. So I think that the more it's in the hands of more people, the more fun. So I enjoy the idea of not so much like breaking old rules as much as, you know, as a collective, starting to create all kinds of new rules together. I think that seems more joyful and loving and holistic and safe and fun.
That's all the time we have, but thank you, Natasha.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Al.
Thank you. For you.
Thank you so much.
One more round of applause for Natasha.